Hello guys, welcome to my live. Um, well, um, Today I had a special live since I'm coming up with my new programs and wanted to tell you more information about the Discovering Your Inner Strength program. So, and also, I'm going to be enlightening you about what sort of knowledge we'll be sharing in our program, and I have a really nice discussion to make with you guys. And it'll be a very interesting live. Just waiting for a few people to log in. So just saying hi to Triman, hi Shipra, how are you? Hi Fi Webs Digital, thank you all for joining in. And so today's theme is going to be tapping into your frequency. Why is it important for you to tap into your own frequency? And hi Gamba Vrinda, welcome. Hi A Fact Hub. Hi Arivan. Thank you for joining in, everyone. So we'll be discussing today more about frequency, tuning into your frequency. Why is it so important to be in a higher frequency? And what we'll be discussing, what is a low frequency, what is a high frequency, and that's all discussion is going to be all about. So welcome everyone, and thank you for taking out time for joining my live right now. You could have been doing anything, but you chose to be here, and that makes me really happy. Hi Jayati Singh. So for those who joined in, we'll be talking about tapping into your higher frequency zone and why is it so important. Okay, so can anybody tell me what is frequency? What do you mean by frequency? Tapping, usually we are talking about let's tap into a higher frequency. What is the low frequency? Anybody here who could tell me in the comment section, what do you mean by frequency? Does anybody have an idea? Okay, so well, I'll help you guys. So basically, when we are in a low frequency, we are usually complaining to people about things that are going wrong in our life, what is not going right in our life, right? And when we are saying bad things, we are criticizing somebody, we are constantly cribbing inside, constantly feeling irritated with people around us, so that's the frequency you are living in. Okay, and so it's very important for you to be in a high frequency zone. So a low frequency is the one who's complaining, who's blaming, who's criticizing other people. And a high vibration zone, a higher vibrating person is a person when you meet someone and you're like, oh my God, I got such a good vibe from that person. I want to spend more time with that person. I want to be with that person. And that is the person who is in their high vibration. Why? Because they do not let the average people or mediocre people who are living in their low frequency affect their high frequency, you know. So so hi Mahima, thanks for joining in. We're just talking about high and low frequency, and I was describing to you what a frequency is. Yes. So well, when you are having a high frequency, when you are living in a high frequency, you're living in a zone of gratitude. You feel more connected towards life. You are more aligned with your own inner self. Okay, and there is more meaning and there is more purpose to your life. You know, you're not just sitting on a couch watching Netflix or just wasting your time gossiping with people. So usually people who are doing that and living a meaningless life, they are the people who are living in the low frequency. Okay, so we have a question here by 5Eps Digital. Feeling anxious and stressed is an example of low frequency. See, anxious and stressed is an emotion. It could come as it's not about low frequency. Even when you are in high frequency, you are working a lot and you want to deliver a lot. You are living a meaningful life, right? Anxiousness and stress sometimes does come in, but to high frequency people are able to manage their stress. Okay, so they would quickly tap into their higher zone energy. Sometimes they do need to like we detoxify our body, they need to detoxify their mind for some time. So no, I wouldn't say that if somebody is anxious or stressed is always in a low frequency, but most of the people who are in their low frequency, you will find them always stressed or anxious, because they are constantly complaining and criticizing other people. People with high frequency, even if they get anxious because of their work or something, they will find a solution. High frequency people are more solution based. So you can find out about yourself what your anxiety and your frustration is leading to. Are you constantly cribbing about somebody, complaining about somebody? Then you are living in a low frequency. If you are anxious and stressed, if you have a pattern of thinking that yes, let's find a solution for it, then you are living in your high frequency zone. So I hope 5Eps Digital, it answered your question. Thank you Power Trust for joining in, and I hope if you guys have any questions, please feel free to put in, and I'm going to be saving this live too, and you can always go back and see. So why do we need to tap into a higher frequency? So basically low frequency people are usually aimlessly living their life, right? And they are nothing less but creating a lot of emotional baggage for them. When they're living in a low frequency, in a low vibration, they are constantly complaining and criticizing. And what is that doing? It's creating an emotional baggage in their system. When it is creating an emotional baggage in their system, it's those thoughts, those feelings are getting stored in your body. When they get stored in your body, then after some time, it becomes a disease. So that is one thing that it's so important to always keep on managing our thoughts. Are we thinking positive? Are we on the right track? Are we not criticizing or judging anyone? So those are the questions we need to ask. And there was a mentor of mine who really told me a very interesting thing. If she had a timer on her phone, after every 1 hour she would say thought check, on the timer. So what's your thought going? Is it positive or negative? So if it is negative, you're in a negative zone, quickly change it to your positive zone. And that's the way, you can track your thoughts. So that's a small example that I gave. And, and a lot of low frequency people, what they do is they aimlessly or mindlessly, they watch rubbish content on YouTube or social media or Instagram, So, there's a lot of content. You really have to see what sort of content you are tapping into. If you are tapping into a very low vibrational content, which is not inspiring you or motivating you, then you need to watch out on your content that you're watching. If there is a content that on social media that you follow, which is more motivational, inspiring, and you really want to look up to that person or to that video, to the thought that somebody is sharing on any of the social media platforms, that's the content you want to follow. And so as they say, putting 20 minutes of content in your mind every day, probably in the morning, by reading or seeing listening to a podcast or seeing some nice motivational reel in the morning for 20 minutes would actually add on to your day and would add on to your high frequency, and you will be more motivated and more energetic to do your work in that day. So then how does tapping into higher frequency help us? So you would be wondering, how would it benefit me to tap into a higher frequency? First, it helps you to stay in gratitude of what you have, of what God's given you by grace, and it helps you to stay in gratitude. Then it helps you to think positive thoughts all the time. So the more positive you think, and that is what you attract. So there is one thing about frequency I would like to say is that when you are in a high frequency, you are thinking positive thoughts, that is what you attract. So your thoughts attract what you want. And if you're living in a low frequency, you will attract that low frequency vibration from everybody else. ऐसा नहीं होता कई बारी, जैसे गुस्से वाले लोगों को सब गुस्से वाले लोग ही मिलते हैं, जो खुशहाल लोग होते हैं, they attract वही happy people, happy go lucky people, and people who are inspiring, they attract more people who want to get inspired by them. So your vibe attracts your tribe. Okay, so whatever you wish to attract, put that in your thoughts and that shall come to you. So the kind of thinking you have, you will attract those kinds of friends in your environment. and those kind of people. So it also affects your health. Having higher frequency, if you're constantly thinking positive thoughts and you are in your high vibration, so you will have good thoughts and no emotional baggages. So obviously you will have a great health. You are going to heal parts of yourself which probably had been damaged because of your emotional health earlier. The more positive you think, the lesser diseases you're going to have. So that's the impact on health that you have. And so another question that comes to my mind is that how can you identify a high frequency person? So anybody who would like to answer this in the comment box over here. So all the answers are welcomed, and it's okay to be sometimes even silly in your answers, or this is just a non-judgmental zone where we don't judge each other. So the person with a lot of empathy, who has a lot of high empathy and has a positive feeling and has good vibes and is often joyful, and that person who lives mindfully and lives in gratitude is a person who lives in its high frequency. So this is the difference between a low frequency and a high frequency person. So hi TJ, hi, thanks for joining my live at this point. I know in UK it's evening, you must be busy at work, but thank you for joining in. So we're talking about low frequency and high frequency people, and I was just showing the difference between high and low frequency. So a high frequency person usually has a very good vibe. You feel their aura around you as very positive, and when you go back meeting that person, you feel a sense of calmness, you feel content, you feel happy, you feel joyful, and you are probably in awe of that person. So that's a high frequency person, so that person will always radiate positivity. Whereas a low frequency person, if you meet, is going to be cribbing, is going to be criticizing, is going to be irritable, is going to be always in a complaint mode, and just trying to prove that I am better than the rest. And there's one thing that I want to share with all of you here, is that the highest thought of a person is not that I am different, I am unique. The highest thought of a person is that we all are the same. We come from the same source, and we all are the same people. And when we stop judging, criticizing, and we just see each other as a soul, we just see each other as one, as oneness, that is the highest thought that you could have for anybody. And that will only come with a high frequency person, will only come with a person who is in gratitude of the universe, whatever it has to offer us, and that person is positive. So that is high frequency. And there's another question that comes to my mind is, what is it that gives tapping into a higher frequency? What do you get after tapping into a higher frequency? First, it's clarity. You get a lot of clarity about yourself. Okay, You are more alert about things around you going right or wrong. There's a lot of positivity around you. Even things when they're going wrong around you, you don't criticize, but you look for a solution. A high frequency person is more solution based rather than blaming or criticizing based. And you become one with the creator. You are co-creating with the creator. So your soul, your soul is one with the creator. We say we are a part of God, yeah? So there's one part of God in me, there's one part of God in you. If I see you as God and you see me as God, and we see each and every person, each and every soul as God, and we see them as one, and that's the highest thing that we could do as a person. And this person who is into the higher frequency would have less clutter in their mind, less confusion, will be very clear, very focused, and would be less irritable about things happening around them. So this gives you so much more clarity living in your high frequency zone. So anybody who would like to ask me questions over here are free to ask me any sort of question. Thank you, Hasmeet Kohli, for joining in. We are discussing about high frequency and low frequency people. So I'm just going to give you a quick recap of what we did. We covered a few questions. What is low frequency and what is high frequency? A high frequency person is a person who lives in positivity, in gratitude, that person is living in abundance, is always thinking that everything is happening for the betterment of myself, right? If I'm living in a high frequency, I think that everything, whatever happens, good or bad, happens in the betterment of all. A low frequency of a person is a person who's always blaming, criticizing, or making excuses for things. So that person is in a low frequency. So as we say, whatever vibe we give out, we attract that vibe, right? So if we are living in a low frequency, we will attract all people who are in their low frequency. Suppose if I love to gossip, I'm going to attract all the people who love gossiping. So I will have my own kitty party of gossiping, right? So, and if I'm living in my high frequency, a high frequency person is living a more meaningful and a purposeful life, is probably living with a mission, is a learner, is wanting to learn more and more, whatever knowledge, whatever stream of knowledge they may want to go in. And so basically they're living a life with purpose, and they don't have time to criticize or blame anybody or make excuses. They're just focused on their mission. So when you're living in a high frequency, that's when you connect with the divine. You create your inner self with divine. When you're connected with yourself, with your purpose, you are creating your life with the divine, So that's about it. I think we have one question. How do you assist a low frequency person to become a high frequency person? How do you assist? You can join on to my programs. I'm starting my new program. But no, I'll answer this question. How to assist somebody? See, we all are beings and we have free will. the most beautiful thing about having a human life, we don't cherish that what life we have. Being human is having free will. Nobody on this planet, not plants, not animals, not even the souls around us or the angels around us, have the free will that what humans have. And if we make use of our free will, wisely, we can be one with the God. That's the purpose of us being one with the God, right? So how to assist somebody? You can. What I usually do with my husband is that I send him motivational videos or whatever I feel that needs to go. I train my kids because I am into this field. So I speak in a very in a very positive and a very affirming manner. So a low frequency person may not be wanting to take your advice right now, right? So usually we don't like advices from other people, right? So you talk in a positive way. It's the way you deal with the situation. You speak to them in a way which empowers them to listen to you even more. So I hope, TG, that answered your question. That's usually I follow this technique, and you can't really tell them to do, but basically tapping from low frequencies to high frequency is to know your purpose, what you're doing and why you're doing, so know your why. I think that's the most important thing for all of us to know. Hi Tapti, thank you for joining in for this live. The best thing is, hi Nikita for joining in the live. So the best thing about you can ask the low frequency person is, what is your why? Why are you gossiping? Why are you irritable? Why? What is your why? So when you find your why, when you find your purpose, why I'm doing this Insta live? Because I want people to to hear me out, to listen to me, so my why is this, right? So I hope it answered all your questions, and anybody who is wanting to ask any questions on low frequency and high frequency, we were discussing that. Nitika and Tapti, you guys joined in a little late, so we were talking about low frequency and high frequency. Anyways, I will be saving this live and you can go back to the live and listen to it. Any more questions? I'm here. So tomorrow again I'll be having the live at the same time with another interesting topic, so you guys can hop in and we can have an interactive session. Okay, thank you. Ending this live. Bye.